Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the Alexander the Ganja Shaman channel. My name is Alexander, and today I have a special guest, Rack Cloud, who is a super soldier, also a remote viewer, has done mission for the Galactic Council, and is part of the White Hats group, and has met the real Trump. It's an honor to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you. It's an honor to meet you finally and do some work with you.
Yeah, I'm grateful. It's all divine, just going with the divine flow, timing, and order. So I'm happy for this. And I want to start as tell us how did you start with this journey?
Well, of course, just like everybody that incarnates here, um, we come from many different star systems. We come from many realms, and we see how Earth, this particular Earth realm, this particular timeline, back in the ancient days, we saw how bad things were turning. First, Earth was doing really good. It was high vibrational until other beings decided to come here and try to take over, invert the organic timeline that Source God has created for this particular Earth realm. It was created to be a school, but it got hijacked, got inverted by many different beings, and these particular beings had a caste system. So I came from the seventh density. I was a guardian of the seven gates. In that particular realm, we are like avians, bird tall humanoid type bird beings. I also meet with that particular star family in a space that is reserved just for us. So we saw how things were moving with Earth, and I decided to incarnate into a human form. And it's best that we do it that way so that we don't break intergalactic laws that prohibit us from coming in and working with the human race. So it's best that we incarnate, become human, and then go through that ascension path of awakening. Um, let's just start when I was. I'm the seventh child, the last of the seven kids that my mother had, and like I said, I came from the seventh density, and we came in to do a mission of awakening other star seeds that came here and got trapped in this slumber within this matrix system. How the Anunnakis wanted to control the I want to say the spiritual path of this particular humanoid type vessel that we incarnate in. That there's been many prototypes over, I want to say, over the past million years. There has been many body types that we had um, that have been changed over time, and the genetics have been changed over time. Um, and I've been here for over 5,000 years, incarnated within this cycle to awaken up this particular timeline and help people with their transitional state of their own ascension path. Is there anything else that you wanted to get into?
Okay, no, interesting you talk about that. Yeah. Um, okay, you talk about the star seeds and also with the Galactic Federation and the Earth Alliance. What I understand, they have like they're still in fighting with the Dark Hats. What can you tell us about the Galactic Federation and the Earth Alliance?
Okay, well, Earth Alliance is it's a military force. It's they transition from Earth realm into another star system. So these federations, like the White Hats, it did not originate here at first. the white hats have been around for millions of years, and they come from other star systems out there in the cosmos. And when it came to the Federations coming here, they, like I said, they saw how Earth was being ran, and then they started working with certain military groups to help combat some of the dark forces that had set up shop here a long time ago, like the Anunnakis and the Dracos. So the Dracos had already started setting up shop with many humans here. They couldn't vibe with the sun. They can't stand the sun, so they had to go underground. The sunlight will kill them because they're more like vampires. They're more like a parasitic race, and they, like I said, the sun, it irritates them. They can withstand it for a little while, but they can't directly go into the sun because it would pretty much just destroy them. So they operate underground, but they had to wait for mankind to catch up. And they kind of been steering mankind into a caste system, which we call the government structure. That structure belongs to the Cabal. It belongs to the Anunnaki, and these two groups, like the Orions and the Draco star systems, they kind of work together at certain times, but they're more or less power hungry, and they infight. This is where you get like the red and blue, the Democrats and the Republicans. The Democrats are the Dracos, the blue bloods. The Republicans are the Luciferians. This is the fallen angelic human line, where you see like the Atlanteans, the Pleiadians. So let me get into the history of this red and blue so people understand how it's a caste system for the Cabal and the Luciferians to have control over Earth, because they see us as farm animals. So they can't manifest. They don't have the power to manifest. So they get us humans because we have the codes, we have the God codes, and we incarnate on this planet. So we get to manifest within this earth realm. They don't have that here. They're more or less invaders to this star system and this planet Gaia. They invade. So they got us to manifest a reality that they wanted to build around us. And this is a government structure. They created the Democrats and they created the Republicans. These are two different bloodlines. Like I said, when you get into like the red and the blue is, of course, the Dracos. They're blue bloods, and they do everything from like symbolism. They believe in symbolism. They believe in, dark magic. It has all of their marks on it. I mean, you can see this throughout history of how they manipulated the whole system that Earth is currently on. Okay, now when it comes to like they could not infiltrate the angelics, so they started stealing Pleiadian genetics because they couldn't look like the angelic humans, so they started stealing, capturing Pleiadians, and then manipulating their genetics. That's when they started hybridizing, and they had reptilian genetics infused with the Pleiadians. This became like the Nordics or the Aryans, and they later turned into what we call the Luciferians. So it's a fallen angelic human line instead of it being an angelic human line.
So interesting. The Nordics, I heard that the Nordics were also beings, few of them, they were working with Hitler in the Second World War, and also beings from Aldebaran.
Yes.
And all, could it be that the Nordics, also the Draco with the Nazi, formed Dark Fleet? That's the foundation of Dark Fleet.
Yes, absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
what can you tell us about Dark Fleet?
Fleet is it's an offset group from the Atlantean and Lemurian sides. Okay, so the Atlanteans are the Luciferians. They came down here after their genetics have gotten stolen. They became inverted. They became the Aryans. Okay, so they started this war with the Lemurians here because once I got to paint this picture of how the Pleiadians took a lot of the Lyrans in once Lyra got destroyed by the Dracos, and they became refugees to the Pleiadian star system. So the Pleiadians started taking a lot of the Lyran people to Earth. They started taking a lot of people to Earth, and then the Pleiadians started interbreeding with the Lyrans, and they became like the Lemurians, where uh, an angelic human form. They look human, but they had Lyran genetics. They so when the Dracos stole the Pleiadians genetics, the whole plan was to infiltrate the Lemurians. So they came up with these particular Luciferians called the Atlanteans. The Atlanteans could look like the Pleiadians, but they had reptilian genetics. So they infiltrated a lot of the Lemurians, saw how they was operating, and then started planning different attacks to bring them down. So after they got destroyed, humans had to go through a transitional state of, you know, evolving. Um, and they started creating many different civilizations from the Atlantean side and also from the Lemurian side. They branched out across the world, but still having to deal with these reptilians and the fallen angelic human line, which was the Atlanteans, the Luciferians. Now, some of them did have peaceful groups within the Atlanteans, but they were more or less into high technology. They love power and they love control, and that's how they rule. Like right now, today in Antarctica, where they met up with Hitler. Let's fast forward now because they met up with Hitler, and Hitler had an agreement with uh, these Luciferians, these Atlantean people. They look Nordic. Okay, so a lot of them started wanted to have treaties and creating a space force. This is the SSP Dark Fleet. They created the SSP Dark Fleet back then, and they created blonde hair, blue eyes. They wanted super soldiers. That was the negative side of the SSP. There were also later, once they came to the United States, they started working with many groups here within the military, and both created two sides. Two sides. One would be the positive side, and one would be the dark side, and they had to combat a lot of the negative things that were going on here on Earth. Within this Earth realm, there is duality. Uh, in order for the dark to exist here, it has to have light. It has to have something to feed off of and control, because if it was all dark, what would be the purpose? So their plan was not to destroy the dark. It was their plans wasn't to destroy the light. They wanted to control it and bend it to their will so that they can harness the energy. It's all about harnessing the energy and using our manifestation powers that they just don't have, and they never will have within this earth realm, because here it was already stated through our Akashic record. We have a timeline to progress, see what it, come down here to see what it's like to be human, evolve, become better. But the dark forces had other plans. They inverted a system that was already here for the soul to evolve. And they created this black hole around the earth that feeds off of dark energy. And it's all manipulation. So they created a structure, which we call the government, where two sides of these families and they control one serpent controls the gold and the other family controls the silver, and that's how it's been ever since. So they keep humanity conscience low so that we don't evolve, we don't ascend, and we don't find out how this particular matrix system that they inverted is ran. And every time mankind began to remember who they are, they would do a reset. Sometimes they would do a planet reset. And we're talking about hundreds of thousands of years ago. They would do this where mankind started to remember, started working with the higher self, and remembering, like having these recalls of who they really are. Once these Anunnakis and the Dracos started doing that, they knew that they was going to lose control at some point. So they started wiping out villages that were starting to remember, having these recalls of their spiritual journey, having recalls of being other beings out there. They did not want that. And this where Christ came into the picture. Christ incarnated to awaken everybody and to have them remember exactly who they are. Because, like I said, the Anunnakis, they like worship. They like creating beings like transhumanism. They're really into inverting the normal path of ascension and then bending that God creation to their will.
Interesting. Um, yeah, with the Anunnaki and the Dracos now from where we are now in 2025, when 2012, I see a big difference in the population. Now the people are asking more questions and looking deep into things. So I can see clearly there's an awakening happening. So, and I also saw, I got information that there were a lot of battles happening on the ground in the dome
Yes.
system, deep underground military bases. And the White Hats were winning. Can you tell us anything about the missions underground?
Yes, absolutely. So I joined the White Hats after I went through evolving from dark to light because both sides were pulling on me as a child. It was always going to be my path to come down here, incarnate, and then awaken at a certain point, and then begin to work with what we call the White Hats or the White Hat military. This will be the positive side of the Navy Alliance, Earth Alliance, and so I went through a lot of psychic programs with the Montauk projects. This was a lot of the dark stuff, working um, in these underground bases where as a child, they had technology. They was doing the Philadelphia experiments with time travel and all of that other stuff, but also was working with the Nazis and the Nordics and the reptilians creating time travel projects, and this had to do with the Montauk projects. So after a lot of us evolved from that, we had to choose. We had to choose whether we wanted to work with the dark or work with the light. I chose to work with the light. I was already getting visited at the age of 3 years old by grays, being floated out of my bed through the wall and onto these crafts. And those were the earlier psychic projects, way before I started being abducted and taken into the military. These will be my lab projects. So I was already working with the Greys, going through these psychic projects, and they would abduct me and do like an examination. They always wanted to know how my body was being developed, how the mind was being developed, and how these psychics projects were being developed. So I would be on board crafts. I'll get into the white hat and going into these underground dome. I first want to paint a picture of how these psychic projects were being developed by ET races out there, in which I work with both on board craft, the light and the dark, because to them it was always going to be choice anyway. It was always going to be choice. The the dark beings were pulling on me, wanted me to work with them, and then the light beings were pulling on me and wanted me to work with them as well. Um, so after I started developing these psychic abilities, um, I could telepathically at the age of 3, 4, 5 years old um, speak to animals telepathically. I would speak to the squirrels. I would speak to birds. And this was before I even went to kindergarten. My mom would fall asleep, and then I had nothing else to do. I was the youngest of 7 children. I would just look out the window and see birds flying, and then I would just speak to them through the mind, and get them to do like fly over to me, and then I would get them to like fly away. And the same thing with squirrels. I would get them to come up to me, um, and just do different things like that. So as I developed these psychic abilities, and they would become like really prominent. Um, I could hear and sense and see energy. I can sense people like next door. My mom, she lived in a poor neighborhood, and we had like neighbors. Uh, we lived in these apartments, and I can sense my neighbor's energy in the next room. If they was in their living room, I can. It was like I can see their energy. I can feel their energy. I knew when they got up off the couch. I knew when they moved around, and that became stronger. And the Dracos at that time, the reptilians at that time, did not like me doing that, because at some point they would see down the timelines that I was going to choose the light. So instead of them working with me, because they knew that they was going to lose control of me. They knew that at some point I was going to choose the light, and they started attacking me in the dream state or the astral realm. So I had the galactic team. I had a galactic team. At the age of 3 years old, I will leave my body and go into a higher form. I will go into a higher form where I understood everything. Everything in this higher form was at my will. So I would go into like an angelic form, and they gave me the position to guard that particular area that I lived at in the astral realm. So I would guard and watch over, and I would go into the astral realm and see many different beings coming up from these lower astral planes, like beneath. We're talking about the hell realm. They will come up into the astral realm, and then I can see them manipulating people, manipulating their astral bodies, attaching energetic cords, and then feeding off of them. Um, the more they did this, um, I could see that mankind was being controlled, like they were almost taking over their consciousness, keeping it low, keeping it keeping people divided within their family. Um, Arguments. If you had like arguments within your family, if you had a lot of hate within your family, 9 times out of 10, they had energetic cords attached to them in the from the astral realm. We called them astral, and they would make them be like astral agents. So these people that they had cords attached to them, they became like agents of mayhem in their awakened state, and they would pretty much become um, drones. They will become like drones for these dark forces to manipulate. We're not just talking about the Dracos, but there were legitimate demons in these lower astral realms that would do this, and they would feed off of that chaos that they will cause. They would literally feed off of it. So, in that training, I became more psychic. I became like I was already going to come up under the Christ conscience. So I became like a warrior for Christ. At the age of 9 years old, the white hats were already time traveling and working with me in these projects. They allowed a lot of the darkness to happen to make me stronger. They allowed these my lab projects to happen to make me stronger, and I became stronger. So once I started fighting these astral demons and taking them up into the upper realms, I took them into a place where we call like a heaven realm. These demons would shed the darkness off of them. They would shed the darkness off of them. And because they do have light, they just look away from the light. They dim their light. They despise the light that they do have within them. This is the part of source God that they turn away from. But once we take them up into these heavenly realms, the vibration there, the healing chambers that we have up there, it sheds this like black goo that they have in them and around them, that they pretty much keep this chaos energy within them. Once that is um, depleted and transmuted, they remember who they are. They remember, and a lot of them are like high angel beings that fell into darkness. So once I started that training, I started growing up, going through my normal life cycle. I will go through a series of sleep paralysis. Um, by this time, I was probably about 13 years old when these beings, I want to call them like the witches, these particular witches, these warlocks, um, they would get on my back. And at the time, when I was going through these sleep paralysis, I didn't know what was going on. I could see these beings, I could look around and see them, but I didn't know exactly what they were. They were almost like shadow beings. Um, I started fighting back. I had already joined like a martial arts group called the Warriors for Christ, where we learned Kempo Taijutsu. So it was already ordained, it was already set up in the Akashic records to stay under the Christ light, work with the Christ light. And I joined a martial arts organization at 9 years old called Warriors for Christ. So it was already lined up for me. It was already lined up. So I never told my martial arts instructor about what was going on with me. I thought, maybe he wouldn't understand. But I did tell my mom, and she told me because she was spiritually inclined too. She knew that these were like witches And I listened to her. She told me, she said they get out of their skin, like they shed their skin and then they go into like their astral bodies. And that's exactly what was going on. So when I started fighting back, like when I would go through these sleep paralysis, I would fight back. I remember one time I was like 13 years old at this time, and I'm trying to lift myself up off the bed. I'm laying on my stomach. Now this entity is on my back, and I'm like, no, I'm not dealing with this shit. So I started pushing myself up off the bed, and I turned and I looked. Sure enough, this was a shadow being, but this was a witch. I can see like the shape. I can see like the hat, the long nose, the female type body. So once I saw that, there was a flash. There was a telepathic flash. I saw this old white woman in regular clothes. She was in regular clothes, and then I saw her in like her black outfit. She was in a black outfit. And then I got another flash, old white man in a brown robe, like a warlock type robe. And then I saw him in his regular clothes. And I'm saying, okay, I know what this is. These are people that practice black magic. So they know the children are very spiritually inclined. They know that they have gifts. What she was doing, she couldn't access other realms. So she would get on my back and ride my astral body to the realms that she needed access to because she didn't have access. She knew that I had the light codes. I had spiritual codes to go into these other realms that she wanted access to. And when she linked with me, I also saw other people that practice dark magic. So it was like by her being next to me, I could go into her mind and see exactly how they were planning, certain things against humanity. They wanted power. They wanted access to other realms that they just they don't have the codes to get go there. So once I started fighting back, I had no more problems. The sleep paralysis went away. Okay, now then I started remembering these other projects in the earlier days, dealing with the Montauk projects, seeing kids in cages, seeing how they would use us to triangulate on certain things. They had three kids, um, almost like in a circle, holding hands, and we would use like our minds to almost like remote view certain targets, and they would get us to find different locations for them uh, to access information that they wanted. I'm not going to get into too much of the darker stuff, man. But at some point, I chose the light. I chose the light, and it was going to be that way. I remember waking up. This is before I knew that I was working with the Navy Alliance. So even the good guys, they program us. They program us so that when they put us back in our conscious state, that we don't start breaking down, uh, going crazy. They want me to, wake up in stages. Well, the dark forces, they do that too. They do that too, but they don't want you to remember anything. The white hats want you to wake up once you put away fear. So once I accepted that I was not going to be fearing anything, then I started getting recall of going. Have you ever heard of the 20 and back?
20 and back, you mean like people that go for a long time, 20 years, for example, or more, do their mission, and then they
Yes.
each regress them back to where they
Yes.
got picked. Oh, okay. You done that? You
Yeah.
experienced that?
Yes. Yeah. I've had many experience with that. And this is the military, where we go off planet. So let's just talk about the positive side of the SSP. So there's two sides right now that exist. You have a black hat side and you have a white hat side. Um, and sometimes we sit down. We have to sit down. Sometimes it's not all about fighting with them. Sometimes we come up with treaties so that humanity can develop without certain resistance. Well, some of those treaties they get broken, they get reneged on, and then that's when the fight is on because we have to have humans. We have to keep this school that God created going, and we work with other beings that agree with that too. So we join the positive. We joined the Positive Galactic Federation, and these are many councils that had to go through the same thing that we're going through right now, with fighting back, being liberated, and then coming together and then openly joining the galactic community. And this is what's going to happen eventually. There's two Trumps. Well, there's many Trumps. Okay, there's many Trumps that Dark Fleet has. There's an AI Trump. There's many clone Trumps, and there was one Trump before he came back into to office. They went into another timeline. This is when the positive Trump was around. They went into a timeline where this particular Trump was electing for the Luciferian agenda. So they brought him into this timeline, but he couldn't stay here. He couldn't stay here. He just needed to operate until they got their plans together. Because the first Trump, he pretty much decided that he was going to be doing some positive things. So they could not get him to break. Okay, this was the Pleiadian incarnated starseed. So he had to do the same thing that many of us do. We had to combat the dark to find out who we really are, and then choose what side we're going to play for. With that Trump, the real Trump, of course, he was born into these families. He was born into these families, but just because you're born into a family does not mean that you don't have the free will to choose how you're going to play out your incarnational cycle. So the White Hats approached him in his first term. In his first term, that's when we started. He started signing executive orders to for the White Hats to go into these underground domes and start rescuing a lot of these kids. They had set up shop down there, the Dracos, the Greys, and that was many different types of Greys too. They had Greys from the Zeta Reticular star system, and the Greys from the Orion system was here too, operating. And then we do have positive Greys, which do have souls here as well, that are a part of these galactic councils. And they wanted to help us, develop, but in a positive way. Well, so once we started going into these underground domes, we started seeing that they were not only feeding off of these children, but man, they had a whole network of systems down there where they had families, like families that never seen the light of day being born down there. Like they never seen sunlight. They never even knew about the top where we live at. They knew nothing about that. So they had sections where they were developing human and androids down there. And they had adrenochrome harvesting facilities down there. It was just so much darkness down there that you couldn't imagine. They were developing all kinds of ET hybrid programs down there too. Uh, and when you link with some of these beings, man, you can feel the sadness coming from them. Like you can feel like their hearts like being broken of how they were created. So we knew about a lot of this stuff too from our Star Nation outside. So we started going into some of these underground domes, and we killed a lot of reptilians, a lot of grays down there. There was a lot of Illuminati children down there too. Uh, but when we started pulling these kids up, when we started pulling the kids up from these underground bases, we noticed, which we did not anticipate. We did not anticipate this at the time. They look almost albino. They look almost albino. Some of them had bite marks on them. Some of them had missing limbs. Where some of these beings down there, some of these smaller reptilians or the reptilians, they would just take chunks out of them. Just bite their arm off, bite parts of the leg, and you would see like bite marks on their side. And some of the humans here, some of the hybrid humans here within the government structure, uh, they will shapeshift. We found some of them down there too. You won't see them up here, but we end up eliminating some of the people within the government that was politicians down there, the Navy Alliance. Um, but they were reptilians. They were reptilians that could shapeshift to look like human. But when we pulled the kids up, as soon as we pulled them up, the sunlight would their skin would just like almost like start falling off of them. Like parts of their skin, as soon as the sunlight hit them, it would just slide off. Some kids were able to be rescued. We set up like tents in certain parks, and we did this like it was planned throughout the COVID time. Like when all this stuff was happening, we strategically had a side plan to set up certain things to so that the public didn't know about. Uh, and then later we started releasing a lot of the information because we want to be transparent. But a lot of the people here, you know yourself, are just not ready for that information. They have no idea what's been going on, especially with Hollywood. And a lot of those people have sold their souls and they get used by the cabal. And that's why a lot of the Hollywood had to be taken out. Of course, you know this by now. Hollywood had to burn. Yeah, and there's a lot of things with the sex and human trafficking that
Oh yeah,
was going on.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oprah, I know, is one of them. A lot of the high people,
yeah,
celebrities, are also part of it. I heard they're going to be taking her out, or they took her out already. I don't know, but what you said about the children being rescued and the sunlight, their skin couldn't handle the sunlight. Yeah, I've heard about that. The one that they rescue under the New York Park, I think. There they set up tent and got them
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Um, Yeah, there were more than 30,000 there rescue. I think other places is still, um, um, I would imagine, is still ongoing, the rescue operation.
It is ongoing. This is a worldwide event that's going on. So okay, now let's get into the dark Trump. Okay, now dark Trump is is in the White House and is controlled by Dark Fleet, the Nazi reptilian fleets. This is the Dark Empire, and ICE is is controlled by Dark Fleet, the Nazis. We're talking about Antarctica people. We're talking about those particular people. So they go after specific people. Um, they're trying to make it seem like that they want immigrants out to better the country. No, they're doing um digital IDs on these people. They're doing organ harvesting. They're taking these people into certain um they're taking them to international waters. So a lot of them go into international waters and then they get picked up by a ship, a craft, and they go into slave colonies. So some of these people are not being returned back to their country. The dark Trump, the black hat Trump, when this all started going on, when they started talking about that they were gonna start deporting a lot of people and taking them back to their country, um, that was a trick for a lot more sinister things to take place. Um, and it has everything to do with Dark Fleet and the uh, the off-planet slave colonies.
Okay, is there I heard that the Dark Fleet, they have, like you said, Antarctica. They have a base there, Antarctica. I heard they have also one on the Moon and Mars, and they
Yes.
have colonized other planets too. So they have expanded their, yeah, their group. Um, is there they have now a treaty with the Earthline and the Galactic Federation, or is it the Galactic Federation trying to take them out, the Dark Fleet out completely out of control of Earth?
Yes, this is going on right now, where we're trying to run them off the planet. Well, let me just say this first. We had some problems. There was some setbacks with the Galactic Federation. They got infiltrated. I don't know if you know about that.
Yeah, I heard it was infiltrated by Enki. That's what I heard.
Well, it could be. A lot of the Pleiadians, well, these particular groups were not just Pleiadians, but they were Nordics that could pass for positive Pleiadians. Well, the higher Galactic Federation councils, they have been patrolling near the sun because the sun is a portal. We've been trying to watch these other Dark Fleet federations from coming in, these reptilians from coming in. So they're stationed out throughout that section, and the Aryans, the Nordics, the ones that can pass for Pleiadians, they still uh they were pretending to be working for the positive Galactic Federation, but they still had dark things going on. They was allowing a lot of the human trafficking. They was allowing a lot of the adrenochrome because they were getting paid off that. they had business with the reptilians. So they were dealing with the reptilians at the same time, posing as if they were helping these federations. Once that happened, we had to assess a lot of the things because I will say this: the reptilians and these particular Nordics, they are masters at infiltration. They are really good at that. But we started depleting a lot of that as well, and we're kind of back on track. Uh, and a lot of the government shutdown. I don't know if you heard about the Three Eye Atlas.
Yes. Yeah, I heard it has to do. It is not a comet, or they some say it's a comet, but I heard it's an interstellar object, and it has beings on it, and seems like what I understand that it could trigger our dormant DNA, the 44 codons that is not activated in people. So, and it's going to be on the 19. What I understand is going to be the closest to Earth. Some people are saying it's the Blue Kachina, but when I looked into the Blue Kachina prophecy, the light should be coming from the center of the galaxy. So I don't know if this could be this is the sign of the first wave of activation, and then more wave is coming. So yeah, that's what the information I gather on it. Yeah, what's your point of view on it?
Yeah, there's definitely two timelines. One is positive, one is negative. Now, I went into a timeline where uh, that was a Draco starship, and it came here, um, and they started doing reconnaissance. The other positive timeline were that this Three Eye Atlas was going to activate the third eye. Uh, so wherever you're at in your conscious state, your vibration, that's where it's going to, whether it be good or bad, wherever you at, it's going to make you address yourself. Okay. And you're going to have to deal with certain things to ascend. It's definitely going to activate your third eye. It's going to do this worldwide with each individual. If you're vibrating low, you may have to deal with that particular timeline with the Dracos coming and evaded. And if you're more loving, more open, and you're not afraid, you're going to go into a positive timeline. This is an individual. Is wherever you at in your conscious state will determine what timeline you're going to be on when Three Eye Atlas truly activates everybody consciousness, because you're going to have to deal with uncomfortable things within yourself so that you can ascend to be in a better place. And it's going to depend on you. It's all up to that individual, and it's not going to be judged. It's nothing to be afraid of. If you're not ready, then you're not ready, and all it means that you have to deal with that. So
Okay. So you think there's gonna be but it is per individual how they were gonna experience him based on their frequency.
yes,
That is a timeline shift. You think it could be happening this December when it's the closest, or in January? Because on 9th of January I saw there's also a planet alignment. Yeah, 9th of January. So that could be also a triggering point.
yeah. Well, it's already starting. A lot of people. Just last week, man, my third eye was throbbing. Um, I've been getting like activations, um, like constantly getting activation. And when you start doing that, just be positive, be loving, don't go into fear, and you'll get more downloads, you'll get more activation, and you'll stay in that higher vibrational state. But if you're into drama, if you're into negativity, you're still going to be activated, but you're going to go into a timeline where you have to address all of that stuff until you're ready to move into a higher frequency.
Okay. Yeah, that will make sense. With your energy, you will attract on which energy you are. If you're vibrating high, thinking positive, it's gonna come good with everything. Yeah, you
Yep,
will attract that. You know, you attract what you are. You attract your frequency. You know. So
absolutely. Yeah. So 3i Atlas is it's going to be a good thing. It's going to be a good thing. No matter what path you take, it's all going to lead eventually to you ascending, going up. Like I said, the more positive people, they're going to ascend faster. The more negative people, it's going to be a slow process until they finish whatever they need to finish within that, and then they'll send up out of that. 3i Atlas, I don't know exactly what this ship is, but it's going to bring a lot of good things to humanity in its time.
yeah, it's time. I can see the Schumann resonance is also spiking, and
Yeah,
so it's showing that, we're shifting or moving to a higher place, and the Earth is also shifting. I don't know if you heard of Dolores Cannon.
yes,
She talked about the Earth splitting in the near future, where the negative people, negative mindsets, gonna go to the negative Earth, and the other
yes.
people, star seeds, you can say they're gonna move to the 5D Earth,
Yeah,
which is already everything is simultaneously, but yeah, could be uh, 3i Atlas. I heard there's going to be more interstellar object. The 3i Atlas is just to make the way, and
yeah,
could be I heard that by 2027, which is an 11-year enlightenment year, also illumination year, that we're going to have like mainstream contact with um, beings from other planets and also inner Earth beings. I know if you
yes,
heard about that.
yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, have you go into the inner earth, have met the inner earth beings?
I've done readings for people, and some of the people that I work with in the white hats, like my friend and comrade Jill. She came from Inner Earth. She was like the one of the Amazon females. This is a tribe of females that there's no males there, and they stand anywhere from 7 feet to 8 feet tall. Female, they're like Amazon type people, females. So all female tribe, and there's also um a Thor line down there. Asgardians are down there. Vikings type civilization that that started down there and then started breaking away from inner earth and coming up here very long ago. And a lot of them have been incarnating up here um, from what they call it, Asgard. Yeah. Do you remember Thor, the guy that wields the hammer?
Yes.
Yes. So that's actually a real bloodline, and so they do trades down there in inner earth. So they come from another dimension and come here for um precious stones. Um I don't know what they use it for. It could be for like their weapons or to power their ships, but they have treaties and have been having treaties with inner earth for a very, very long time.
Interesting. Um,
Yeah, and of course there's reptilians down there. There's all types of beings down there,
but but
all kinds.
but do they live like separate? Because
Yes,
They live. They stay out of each other's way.
Yeah. Sometimes they have a treaty set up with each other because they like doing trade. It's the same thing up here. We do trades with other federation councils, and I could talk about that. About the Navy docking stations. I've talked about this on other platforms that there's Navy docking stations set up around the world, set up around the planet, and where ETs come in, they got to check in up there. And you can't see this place. You can't see it because it's cloaked. And my best friend, which is a Navy officer, he was working up there and he hadn't seen me in a long time. And he wanted to see me. So I ended up taking a Tic Tac. You ever heard of the Tic Tac craft?
No.
Yeah, well, it's a back engineered craft. And I think that I never mentioned this, but I think it's the tall whites technology. And it looked just like a Tic Tac. You know the Tic Tac that you pop in your mouth, the candy, the mint. Yeah, it's shaped just like that, and it's cream color white. Well, once I got on the Tic Tac, which is back engineered, in all of the militaries, they use this craft. It's like it's considered like a bus shuttle station where we deliver human personnel, we deliver equipment, and we take it all around the world, to other military bases. It can go to the moon. It's not built for interstellar travel, but it can go to Mars. It's not built for that, but it can. So I get up there to the docking station, Navy docking station, and I'm seeing all of these ETs up there, these tall humanoid type people, and they got their one-piece suit on, and they're from all over, and they have business here that they're trying to conduct with Earth civilization, but they have to check in there. So, and I'm talking about, it's crowded, man. It is extremely crowded, and I had to use the bathroom. So I'm shoulder to shoulder, bumping into all of these ETs. And I went to go use the bathroom, and then I met my best friend. My best friend, he's Indian and Mexican. His mom is full-blooded Indian, and his father, which he never met, is Mexican. His grandparents are full-blooded Indians, and I grew up with him, as a small child. And we never thought that we would be doing this. We knew at an early age that we will be doing something special, but not like this. So, and I was up there probably about a week, and he was up there with his girlfriend. He had his girlfriend up there. So I felt like the third wheel, and I'm up there and I can't really do anything but just walk around and stay close to him. They won't let you speak to the extraterrestrials up there, from what I gathered. Everybody's busy up there. They got their own little thing going on. And so I pretty much stayed in his quarters, which is a room. And so I got bored. And as soon as I said I'm bored, I'm back down here. And I know I was up there like a week, but when I got back down here, it was like only a night had passed. So, yeah.
That's interesting, with the docking station there. And yeah, I know you also said they perfected time travel, so they have technology way
Yeah.
advanced that we're not capable of imagining right now. Um, it could be one of the other docking station that they have on Earth, because in Alaska, I think I forgot what the mountain there is called, but it's they call it the Alaskan Triangle, which a lot of people things go missing there. And one of the there's a black pyramid also there, and one of the mountains there I heard is like a docking station where ETs come in. They have to do checkup there. Have
Yeah.
you heard that? The
Yeah.
have you been there?
No, not that one. I've been the one like I said, there's many of them around the world, and we work. You would think that, let's just say, Earth people are being lied to. We have many treaties. We have treaties with Russia. We work with Russia. We work with China. We work with all of these people in all of these countries. But if you listen to the news media, you would think that we are at war with a lot of these people, and that's just not true. It's not true. Yeah,
Okay.
but the docking station, I don't know what side of the planet I was on, to be honest, but it was a Navy docking station. It had to be the U.S. I'm thinking that this right here had to be like over the U.S.
The US. Okay. Yeah, I would
Hmm.
imagine there's a lot of there's one I heard also in the Caribbean, one that's underwater. And it's a research facility, but I heard it's like a communication place where they have to also come, but underwater. And around that area, you have a lot of USO, unidentified submerged object, but it's just UFO that goes in the water. Um, so yeah, and I see there's a lot of more UFO activities in the sky. So, what I
Hmm.
understand, the ETs are also like gonna be pushing for disclosure, and you also mentioned what is happening in the Congress, the slow disclosure. So I can see
Yes.
it coming to a point where yes, we are gonna be having contact mainstream. Now, a lot of people still are not ready for that. That's another case. But yeah, the energy is gonna be keep going up. And
Hmm.
do you think in 2027 that's when the could be the full split is going to happen with the reality?
You know, there are people right now, Alexander, that are predicting 2027. And you're not the only one that I heard this from. And I've also been speaking on some of this. There's a lot of psychics that are seeing this as well. So it's got to be around that time, 2027. It's got to
Mm.
be. And
Okay.
the reason why it has to be because if we wait uh, too long, we may go into that timeline where their agenda of 2030 might take place. And this is a digital ID.
Yeah.
They want, yeah, and they're still talking about that. But we got to manifest the positive timeline for that 2027.
Yeah.
So
If
yeah,
if you can do it by 2027, that would be great. So yes, they're pushing the digital ID, and like people like me and you, where they're gonna block us of everything, so we're not gonna be able to buy anything or nothing.
yeah,
We're gonna be locked out of the system. So and many other people. So yeah, we are more powerful. They're using our manifestation capabilities, energy to manifest their reality, but we have to look inside and manifest our reality, new
yeah,
world. This
yeah,
year is also with the nine cycle, which is things coming to an ending, also ending of a cycle completion. There's also the snake year, which refer to the snake shedding its skin, so letting go of the
yes,
past. And next year is the fire horse year. So, and it's a 1 year. So I can see next year more things. Corruption is going to be shown, be coming down for people to see, and we build new and go on a new positive timeline to manifest that positive timeline. Can see that
yeah,
happening.
yeah.
And I saw also Trump posting on his social truth social about the mad bats, a video about it, and then he took it down. Now, January, he said the title was about for January, but I think January is too soon. Um, could be if it come out, that would be good. The pharmaceutical companies is gonna fall because there's pharmaceutical cartels. That's another thing. But I do think maybe later 2026 or the beginning of 2027 we could see the mad bats. I don't know if you have any information on that.
Yeah, they've been pushing. Well, we've been pushing for this for a long time now. The first time we pushed for it was before COVID happened, where we sat down with the black hats. It was the black hats. So our military group, the white hats, sat down with the black hat military, and at first we had agreements. They had agreements that they were gonna not bother us when it came down to releasing the med beds. Then they reneged on that treaty. And of course, big pharma and big tech do not want that out. So we're trying to combat a lot of these global elites that do not want that particular technology out. So it's been back and forth with these black hats. Like I said, a lot of times we can't always fist fight these people. Um, so we have to sit down and air things out. It's the same thing with the government shutdown, um, where we have to trade off. Sometimes we have to lose a little bit in order to get certain things that we want. And we don't like when that way, but sometimes we just have to. So
Okay.
again, do you know him? Super
Sorry,
Soldier?
sorry, it lost connection a bit. Sorry, can you repeat the last sentence? Something strange just happened. We lost connection, but
Oh,
I'm back.
I was getting a phone call from James Rink. Do you know James Rink?
No, no, I don't know.
Su- Super Soldier?
No.
He's a yeah, he's a super soldier. He has a YouTube channel called the Super Soldier Talk or Super
Oh,
Soldier
okay.
Project. Yeah.
Is he the light skinned guy with long hair? Does he have long hair?
No,
I
no,
saw you.
he's a white guy. He's a short
Mhm.
white guy with short hair. I think his eyes are blue.
Oh, okay. No,
Yeah.
I saw you on an interview with another person. There was also he calls himself Ra. Um,
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, yeah. Arkham Ra.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
also a super soldier, right?
yeah. Hmm.
Okay, okay. And
Yeah.
yeah, I have encountered the stories of the super. I don't know if you heard of Carrie Cassidy of Project Camelot.
Hmm.
She has been interviewing a lot of super soldier that talked about their remembering of experience on Mars, for example, fighting with the reptilians there,
Yeah.
or on other planets too. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I see a lot of people are starting to remember if they were part of that program, which is very interesting. Yeah, and you can see clearly the awakening is happening. Yeah, a lot of people are starting to remember who they really are. Um, Let me see. Oh yeah. Okay. You also oh yeah, you mentioned about the underground Android cities of Japan
Yeah.
and China.
Yeah.
You meant the Japan and China is very advanced. They're like just Android people under in the
Yeah.
city.
Yeah. So the United States are now trying to catch up to how advanced China and Japan are. Their androids now, the Android city that I saw was in the United States, and it is advanced. They have tech. We call them handlers, um, and they do field tests above ground where these androids they can grow fingernails. Oh, so once they also can grow skin as well. they can repair and regenerate skin if it's not too damaged. Um, and they use a form of nanotechnology to fix their outer layer of skin. But these cities, before they wear the skin suit. So when I saw this base, they were doing like field tests down there. They have like tech handlers down there, and they can do phenomenal things, man. They can move around like you. They can take your voice. They can analyze your voice and then use it. And that's basically what these so everything now. So they have your face recognition. They have all of that. They have your voice, because a lot of times when you call the bank, you gotta speak to certain things. You have to say things. So they have all of that. And that was part of the elite's plan, because they want to make a digital copy of you. And this is like one of the reasons why I wear the glasses, because of course they have your fingerprint. So if you ever got in trouble with the police, they have your fingerprint. But what they don't have, what the androids really want, what the archons really want, they want your eyes. They want that because it's unique. No one person had the same type of eyes. It's just like your fingerprint. And those cameras that we use, they pick up on that. Do you remember like how they use like the face filters? So when people play with the face filters, it's already scoping your face, scoping your voice, but it's all, if you close enough, it already scanned your eyes. So and that's another thing that they wanted. They had deals with the CIA, people within the intelligence community, um, like certain people that they wanted to eliminate secretly. Well, they had an android for that person to, if the android was going to infiltrate the home and pose as maybe a female or the male or even a child, they can do that as well. And if the android mastered your emotions, which is hard to do, um, you would never know. But that was one of the plans. That was one of the plans. They did the same thing with prominent people. They did that with Biden. Um, there's an android Trump, like I said, and of course Elon is not human. Elon is like one of the Atlantean technologies. This is the Nordic technology, the Luciferian technology. He's very advanced, and I had to
Oh,
deal with him. Yeah, I
oh,
had to
really?
deal with. Yeah, this was years ago, where before I bought the home that I have now, um, they tried to set me up. They knew that I was going to be doing this work. I haven't even started a channel. I hadn't even come out from behind the scenes, but they wanted to make a copy out of me. At the time, I did not know. Like I said, the reptilians, they can look down the timelines and see who's going to cause them problems. So when they take people like that, we call them body snatchers. And another thing I have to warn people about is the med beds, because they was going to use the med beds to make a digital copy of me. So let me tell you what happened. This is about 6 years ago. This is about 6 years ago. Um, in the apartment, I was sitting down in my apartment on the couch watching TV, and this was daytime. And I heard claw. I have hardwood floors, so I heard these claws run across my floor in front of me as I'm watching TV. Now I could not see what the heck that was, but I already knew about the reptilians. I knew about the reptilians. The reptilians can vibrate 20% here, but be 80% in another frequency. So you can pick up their present, but you can't see them because then they haven't all the way popped in. So I heard this reptilian claws running across my floor. And I knew that's what it was. So that night, they knew I was off because I worked third shift. They knew I was off that night. They were setting up shop in the astral realm to set me up. So when I went to sleep, I went into the astral realm and I'm looking at my apartment. I'm inside my apartment. Elon Musk is in his android form. My higher self had already dealt with him. So he's glitched out in my kitchen floor. And there's a med bed between my couch and the refrigerator. There's a med bed. And my higher self allowed me to see that he had taken out, he had glitched, whatever my higher self did, it dealt with Elon, and Elon was glitched out on my floor. The plan was to put me inside that med bed and make a copy of me, an exact duplicate of me. So once I got all of the downloads from my higher self, I wanted to leave the apartment. So as I'm leaving the apartment, I'm on the top floor. So I'm on the balcony, and there's steps going down, and I take flight. As I'm taking flight, I'm noticing that something is pulling me back down to the top balcony. So at this point, and I'm like, who in the hell is that psychic that they could pull me back from flight? Because the plan was to go ahead and fly from the astral realm and then come back into this realm. So when I got pulled back to the balcony, I looked over and I'm seeing this Nordic girl. This Nordic girl was behind the tree, and she's looking up at me like, shit, I shouldn't have done that. And I never minded her. I said, okay, I see what this is. Okay, the Nordic girl, she used her psychic abilities to pull me back down. So I never mind her. I went back into my apartment in the astral realm, and I shut the door. Now, once I got back in, Elon was still glitched out on my floor. He was still glitched out. So two reptilians popped in. Two reptilians, and they look identical, and they're like 7 feet tall inside my apartment now. So one of them grabbed me like that by my shoulders and picked me up and pulled me closer to his face, and he smiled at me. So I smiled back at him, and I blinked out. I just simply faded out of his arms. Yeah, and came back into this earth realm. But Elon, I've been telling people, I said this over 2 years ago, way before you guys knew that he was an android. Do you guys remember at that inauguration, he was doing like some android type weird stuff?
Yeah, I saw he was a bit out of character. That you see Baron Trump like looking at him straight, and also he wear like a Baphomet costume with a Baphomet
Yes.
symbol on it, and costume party or whatever it was. So yeah, I heard he's like a gray hat. He works on both sides. Is the one now being controlled by the white hats, or is it completely controlled by the dark hats?
There's many versions of him too.
Mm.
So I don't trust him, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. They can say that the white hats are controlling him, but he's android. He's Nordic technology, and he's into the transhumanism. So I never trust anybody that their initial plan was to chip us all, chip all human beings. So he wanted to give us the mark of the beast. And this was years ago. And now people saw that he wore that Baphomet suit, and he also did the Nazi salute. So
Mm.
you remember the Nazi salute he did?
Yeah, was that really a well, he did it like straight like that. You can say that's a Nazi, or was it through the side? Depending how you interpret it, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
but yeah, it was a salute. There was Dark Fleet people in there.
oh,
There
really?
was there was yes, there was Antarctica people in there. Nobody knew about that. There was black hats there, Dark Fleet people was in there, and there was reptilians there. So the agenda, then this was way before ICE came out and started doing all of that Nazi stuff, taking people off the streets. So and I was trying to paint the picture for people back then that that is not the real Trump. So let's get into the real Trump now. I'm gonna tell you.
Oh yeah, because you have met Trump, the real Trump, right?
Yes,
Um,
yes, the
yeah.
real Trump. Now I've met Trump several times. I'm gonna tell you all the times I met Trump. Okay, so the first time I met Trump, this was before he was gonna be his first presidency. He was going up against Biden. Okay, so I went into another realm. I went into another realm, another timeline where him and Biden was at a podium. He was at a podium, and it was at an airport. It was at airport, and I could see the airport off in the distance, and there's lots of people on the sideline. So, and I'm seeing these black females, talking about they thought that Biden would be the better choice. And I'm just listening to them. They're out there for Biden, and so something fell out of my pocket. It was my wallet, and Trump come over and he pick it up, and a card came out of my wallet, and it had like it was my bank card, but he thought it was one of the a government assistant card. He thought it was a government assistant card, like food stamps or whatever that was, but it was my bank card. He didn't look at it correctly. So he told me, he said, "Do you not know that the government is a trap? That government assistant is a trap?" And I said, "Yes." I said, "Yes, I know it's a trap." I said, "What you and Biden is doing is all traps. It's all traps of the matrix system." And he looked at me and he smiled and he shook my hand, acknowledging that it's all a trap. The whole government structure is a trap. Anything that they do for us is to win our consent so that they rule over us. It's a trap. Nothing in this realm is free if you're dealing with the government structure. If you pay off your house, you have to pay taxes on it. If you buy land, it's not your land because you still have to pay taxes on it. So they bind us. It's everything. Everything here within this matrix system is ran by a government structure to govern over you. And the reason why they need your vote is because they need your consent to rule over you. And it's a trap. If people stop voting, they will win. They will win. Earth will be liberated. It will be liberated because they don't have the control. It's everything we do by here is done by choice. They can't, they can trick us. God will allow them to trick us because we should know better. We should feel what's right within our hearts. And we know it's not right. We know what the government does is it's never been right. So let me get back to the Trump. So Trump shake my hand, acknowledging that, yeah, it's all a trap. So the black females, they look at me and think that I'm buddy buddy with Trump. And they're giving me all of these bad looks and stuff. So I walk over to them, and I don't want them feeling like in fear. I'm gonna explain to them, you know, um, and they're short, so I walk over to them, and I get on one knee. I get on one knee, and they was like, "Yeah, we see how friendly you are with Trump." And at the time, I like Trump. You know, I like the white hat Trump. You know, I like the white hat Trump. I'm gonna be honest with you. But I would not choose anyone over humanity. Humanity comes first. So the black lady, she was like, "Well, I see how friendly you are with Trump," and she was like, "Biden will be the better choice." I said, "No, Biden will not be the better choice," and which they don't know what us military people know. Biden will lead you into the transhumanism agenda. He will lead you to digital ID, more entrapment, more enslavement, and that's done by the Dracos. And he is reptilian. So the real Biden been dead a long time ago. Reptilian, they took his form, they took his body, and they do it the same way that the Nordics do. They use a reptilian, and they also use an android. Okay, and he has handlers. So that was the first time I met Trump. So a year go by, a year go by, and I get called to Space Force. Now I don't know. At first, I'm looking around, and once I figure out where the hell I'm at, I'm like, okay, I'm at Space Force, so I'm excited. Um, then I see Trump. I see Trump, and the girl. I'm sitting down. I'm sitting down, and I'm about to get checked in. So this girl, who I noticed, she looks familiar. She looks familiar to me. This is the same girl that was a receptionist at the front desk at my gym in the here and now. And I'm like, I'm mentally thinking like, what the fuck is she doing here? Why is she at Space Force? But I don't say anything. I don't say anything to her. So I'm getting checked in. Um, and I look over. Trump is he's at this door. He's at this door, and I'm seeing all of these computers, these modules, these screens, and there's other military people there. And he's looking at me, and he's doing like this. He's doing like this. So Trump wanted me on his team. He wanted me on his team. For one, I work with the Navy Alliance, um, and he want psychics on his team, warriors that would do, get the job done. So once I get checked in, I go through all that. Boom, I'm back in my bed. So that was the second time. That was the second time. The third time, I'm at a military base, and things are not going well. Things are not going well. Uh, I'm on the top floor. I think there's like 3 levels, and I'm on the top floor. And military people are trying to, contain me. They're trying to contain me, and I'm just throwing them around. I'm not in like a hostile mentality. I'm not mad. I even got a smile on my face. I'm actually in my super soldier form at that point, and I'm tossing Space Force guys around like babies, man. So I see this window, and I jump out of the third floor. of this window. And as I land, my rib, it breaks and it pop up out of my stomach and I'm bleeding. So I'm like, okay, it's time for me to give up now. So I surrender. And, the military, they take me into custody. And I see Trump. And Trump is disappointed. He's disappointed. And he told me, he told me that he was going to imprison me for 200 years. He told me he was going to imprison me for 200 years. But he wasn't talking about my human form. He was talking about my soul. Because I'm not going to live for 200 years. He was telling me that he was going to imprison my soul. So, and I'm thinking that this could have been, I don't know if he really meant it at the time. I think he was just pissed the fuck off. But you got to understand, and the reason why I did that is because I'm not going to sign a soul contract knowing that this is my last incarnational cycle. Because what people have to understand is that if you sign a contract, which you that's your free will, you can sign a contract, well, they can use your soul for thousands of incarnational cycles. You have to read the fine print. This is my last trip. So I'm telling people everything I know, everything I've been a part of, and because I know that the truth will set us free. So you have to tell the truth. If you know that this is going to be your last incarnational cycle, don't leave no stone unturned. So everything that I've been a part of, I'm telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And I don't care who cares. If the Illuminatis don't like it, so be it. I mean, if they want to fight, then we can fight. But I'm not staying in this realm. I've been here for a very long time. And the reason why I know I've been here for over 5,000 years, because a year ago, I saw myself back how they lived like in the biblical days. I was chasing 3 of my shadow aspects. You know about the shadow aspects? Your
Basically,
shadow selves?
your karma that you have to deal with from past life.
Yeah. So I was chasing 2 males and 1 female, and they were running away from me. And this was back how like they lived like back like in the biblical days, in the mud huts and the stones, like back when Christ was here. Well, that's where I was at. It was like I was over there in back in that time. And these 3 aspects, they love who they were. They did not want to be healed, and they ran from me. And I was up and down these steps, these stone steps, like back in those biblical days. And I was trying to integrate them, heal them, integrate them. And they were running from me. So that's when I learned about this.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's when I started learning about the shadow aspects. Because that's what they were. They were all dark too. They look like just shadows. They were shadows, and I linked with them. I telepathically linked with them. The female was one of the darker aspects. So when I was a male back in those days, I didn't treat females right. I didn't see them as equals back in those biblical days. The other two males, I didn't. It was just a lot of karma dealing with them that had to be healed. So that was the 3rd time I meet Trump. So after he told me that he was going to imprison I was gonna be in prison for 200 years. I made a deal with him um, to retrieve something for him. So um, what I did gather, because they're not going to let me have all those memories for security reasons. So I got him something very powerful, and when I brought it to him, it wasn't him; it was his clone. It was his clone, and there were Secret Service men with his clone. Looked like him, but I knew it wasn't him. He had a special suitcase that contained whatever this was that I got for him from another realm, that it was energy, it was powerful. And they got in the limo, and they left. So I squared all of that drama that him and I had, I squared that away. So, I mean, still working with the white hats, but Trump wanted really powerful psychics just on his own personal team, and I couldn't do that. I mean, my agreement was to work with the white hats, work with him, but not be like his own personal um, henchmen. You know, I've done that with the Illuminati's uh, coming up, and I had to break all of those contracts with the Illuminati's to do what I'm doing now. I had to break all of those contracts to do what I'm doing now. So the last time I met with Trump, now this was the very, very last time. They were going to kill him. Dark Fleet was going to kill him. They had already had plans to take him out and then replace him. The same thing that happened with Biden. But Trump had to go into high protection of the white hats, high protection of Earth Alliance. So when he met with me this last time, man, tears were just falling from my eyes. Tears were falling from my eyes, and I told him, "Do not forget me." And he had his hand around my neck, and I had my hand around his neck, and his face was on like the side of my face, and he was just whispering in my ear as these damn tears falling from. I mean, I was crying like a fucking baby, man. And he was giving me the indication that he was going to be going away. He was going to be going away, and his main goal was guard the stargates. There are stargates all around the planet. And I'll tell you about this one incident. So the Anunnaki, they have underground pyramids, and those pyramids have stargates inside of them. And they have tunnel systems underground that go to specific pyramids underground where these Anunnakis and the reptilians operate. So once we started going into these underground facilities, they would get tipped off. So when we get there, there's moments before they were in full operation. So when we get there, it's empty, completely empty. They jump. They use the stargates to jump to another frequency. Without those codes, we don't know where they went. So, yeah, and it's like that. So we have set up shop to monitor these stargates to keep them out. We have military set up in specific places around the world guarding stargates. Now I don't know about the ones because I know that there's ones underwater too, but I know the Bermuda has a large triangles Stargate there. Uh, but yeah, I don't know about too much on that one. I do know that there are beings at specific times. Humans get lost there. Like back in the day, they would just get lost there in that gate.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's because I live in the Caribbean and not far from the Bermuda Triangle. And yeah, there's a lot of stories of that area that plane disappeared. There was one guy that went into a plane, or was in a plane, flying in a plane, and it should take about 30 minutes or 45 minutes to reach Florida from Barbados, but he reached in 15 minutes. He went through how I say, a cloud that was like circular. He went
Yep.
through it and came out Jamaica, not Jamaica, but in Florida. And he could have measured the fuel also that he didn't consume as much. So he wrote the book and concluded he went to a like a time portal there.
Yep.
And last, what I heard about the Bermuda Triangle is that they discovered like three giant pyramid underwater made of crystals. And
Yes.
also, what I understand, there's a piece of Atlantis machine also under in the Bermuda Triangle.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
I,
And they
sorry.
yeah, they come in from all over the place. These ET races. You're right about the crafts that's underwater. They have a whole civilization under there.
Yeah, that's what I understand. There's I heard in the Caribbean, for example, there's like 12 underwater like facilities, and only two of them are managed by humans and ETs. The other ones are completely run by ETs. Like you heard of Dulce, New Mexico. That one was run of what I heard last was run by humans and ETs, the Greys, and I think also a reptilian that they had
Yep.
trouble there. So you heard about the Dulce, New Mexico incident?
There's been many incidents there, and it's just not a good place to go. They're very advanced. I know. So what have you heard about it?
No, I heard that. I think it was in the 1960s or 70s. There was a battle there that they had to call Delta Force, and I think they killed all of them. And one guy escaped, Phil Schneider, and he started talking about there's different levels there, and where they do experiment. They goes as far they do Frankenstein experiment on people there with genetic engineering. They have the Greys and
Mhm.
the reptilians, and he escaped and they shot a laser at him. He when he was giving presentation, he showed his hand. You see, he missed all his
Yeah,
fingers were gone,
yeah,
and not long afterwards, he was unalive basically. They
yeah,
murdered him. So
yeah. Absolutely.
so yeah, I heard there's a lot of those underground bases also around the planet, but what I understand, they're slowly but surely they're being how I say clear out of the entities are being cleared out slowly. So um,
Hmm.
it's moving on a good pace. Um, Oh yeah, and another thing you said also because you are born in a dragon year and you also with the multiverse you access yourself from another plane, your dragon self. Or you have also an angelic form that you have access, and you have also different dragon beings that you have access. I don't know if you can say anything about that.
Yeah, I meet with a dragon council.
Hmm.
Uh, Normally we meet the year of the dragon. We have these meetings, and they like for whatever reason, um, they like the China area. there's a portal that opens up there, and we go into like a high vibrational type of reality over there. Well, the last time I was over there meeting with the Dragon Council, um, I always run into these agents. That was a albino type guy, um, and he was with other people. I think he was like the head type guy. So they were tracking me, um, but they kept their distance. I think they were working for the reptilians, in which we fight. Our dragon council, we don't like how the reptilians operate in any of these timelines. And we set up meetings to discuss how Earth Realm, how we're going to be protecting Earth Realm. So um, when I went there, it was like a long walkway. It was concrete. It was like a tent, metal type tent going all the way down. It was like some sort of flea market or something. It's set up like a flea market. And so these little small cobras started coming up out of the crack of the cement, and I started stomping on these. They were like identical, and what was being shown to me is that the reptilians like to clone themselves. So it was giving me the indication that they were somewhere underground and they had started cloning um, um, their people down there in their bases down there. So once I started stomping these cobras, these baby cobras that look identical, I walked some ways and I saw like a door. There was a door on the side, and it looked almost like a secret type door. And but they had bugs on this door. There was bugs covering this door. So I put my hand up and I used like a wind blast. So I blasted all of those bugs off that door. And then I flew up to the door. I went inside the door. That's where we were going to hold this meeting. And so that door entered into like another dimension where this meeting was going to take place. So once I got inside there, I noticed shortly my Sifu, my martial arts instructor here in the here and now. I'm not going to say his name, but he taught me Kempo Taijutsu, and the martial art organization name was the Warriors for Christ. So when I went inside, he showed up shortly, and then he had like two or three other students with him. So, and I'm looking at his students, and I'm looking at him, and I'm flying around, and I'm seeing the energy. I'm seeing the energy, and they're not ready. So I had to test my seafood, which was not spiritually ready. I hit him with a okay, now the one student, he had one student that he brought that looked prominent, looked like he had potential. So I tested my seafood and I hit him with a wind blast. So when I hit him with that wind blast, it brought him into his dragon form, which was he was not, he hadn't grown spiritually. He's good here. He's good here, but he knows nothing about the spirit realm. He knows nothing about the stuff that we're talking about. So he has not grown his consciousness. He hadn't expanded as a dragon. He is to a dragon. So the form that he had was like this small dragon that I can hold in my hand. That's was the size he was. I hadn't even went into my dragon form. So 2 council members, 2 high dragons came in. They flew in. One was white, one was like the color of this cup right here. That was a smaller dragon. He looked almost like a lion. He had like the head of a lion, but he's a dragon. The body of a lion, but he is a dragon. And he was this color right here. The other one had a long body, he was all white. Now that dragon had a lot of wisdom. Now I picked up on his energy, had a lot of wisdom, very calm, peaceful type dragon. The smaller dragon, man, that he expressed himself. Now I had my Sifu in my hand, and I was already healing him because I injured him with that blast. And look, when it comes to dragon, we're very direct. We're very direct. We express ourselves. We don't hold back on what we mean. We mean what we say, and we say what we mean. So I'm healing him, and the high dragon that came in that looked like this, the one that looked like a lion, he looked at me healing my Sifu, and he told me to put that dragon out of his misery, which I was not going to do. But that's what he said. He didn't really. Maybe it was a split. Maybe he did mean it. Maybe he did mean it. But he didn't like that my Sifu had not grown spiritually. And this was the teacher that taught me in my physical human form everything that I needed to know in martial arts here. But he's grown here, but he's not grown as spiritual. And right now he's I love my brother, man. I love him. And I would die for him. I would give up my life for him. He's going through something very he's being forced right now to grow. He's being forced right now to grow because he has a rare blood cancer right now that he's fighting. And he did not let me know this. He told me that I knew about his kidneys. He had a kidney problem a year and a half ago. He told me about that, but he didn't tell me why he was having kidney problems. So I recently went to go see him. Months before I went to go see him, he told me that he had to get surgery on his hip, that there was a crack in his hip. And the doctor asked him, was he in a car accident? Did he fall? He said no. So they ran some tests to find out why did he develop a fracture in his hip. After running those tests, they found that he had like a blood cancer. And he didn't let me know. So when I went up there to this martial arts seminar, they was going to throw a banquet later that night. And the woman that he's married to, I call her my sister. So at the banquet, after the demonstration and the seminar was over, we went to the banquet that night, and she told me, she whispered to me, she said, "Draw, he is not going to tell you, but I'm going to have to tell you that the reason why he looks so paper thin and he's walking like that is because he has a rare blood cancer." And I'm like, what? I was already tired after all of the seminar. And I really just wanted to lay down. But when she told me that, man, when she told me that, every cell in my body woke up. And I'm like, so what do we do now? What do y'all need from me? Um, she was like, the doctor said that he needs like a bone marrow or something like that. And I said, well, does it have to be like family, blood related? And she was like, no, if it's if like you're a match, uh, then that can help. And she was like, do you think he's gonna be mad that I told you? I said, he may be mad, but look, his life is on the line right now. So I'm glad you told me. So days go by, and I'm back home because this was in Atlanta, and I'm in North Carolina. I went to Atlanta to this seminar, and I told them later. I was like, look, so you know, he taught me everything that I needed to learn. And you like my brother. I see you like my brother. You like a mentor. You and almost like a father figure to me. He's like 15 years older than me. So I said, look, man, if you need anything from me, let me know. I said, your wife told me, right? And if you need anything, let me know. The guy is so humble, man. He's so humble that, he just thanked me. He didn't ask me to and see if I could be a match, for a bone marrow. So, and I just left it. I left it at that. But he's always in my prayer, and I love him, man.
It's gonna come good. Prayers does help, and maybe
Yeah,
it's a challenge for him to overcome. I know nothing is impossible to overcome
yeah,
in the medical sense. I don't know if you heard of Dr. Sebi, but he cure people of everything. It's just
yeah,
nature provide. And a key thing is detox and fasting. By
yes,
doing that, changing your diet, you will overcome it. And you can
yeah,
go as far as the mental also overcome with the mental, like the placebo effect show that how powerful we are mentally, so we can overcome. But using those two combination, I'm pretty sure he will overcome it.
yeah, yeah. I think he's being tested. I think he's
Yes,
he's like being forced to be tested because he is a dragon. He is a dragon. I seen that for myself. Um, so I think he's going through this transitional state to become more of a dragon. Yeah,
yes. To really
spiritually.
embrace, yeah, to really embrace his power, to step in his power, his time. So maybe that is the way that he's gonna get. Seems like he's getting forced by the universe to step in his power. So
Yes.
it's gonna come good. Yes, I heard there's also a dragon starting to awaken on this earth, in the physical realm and other realm on this planet. You know anything about that?
Yeah. A lot of the dragons were asleep. They were in a slumber. Some of them started taking on like the landscape. So when they laid down, they went into a very long slumber. And the reason why is because the frequency was too low for them. They couldn't stay awake until the planet started rising in frequency. So as we begin to rise more in frequency, they will begin to awaken.
Okay, that's interesting. And yeah, the frequency is rising, so yeah, we're heading in a positive way. Yeah, I just see now. I have few more other things, but the time fly with you. I see we already reach 2 hours past the
Yeah,
time that
yeah,
I wanted maybe I can have you for another time. We go into other deep subjects in the future.
absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome. And yeah, and next time I think we can, I will check with the question from the chat. But yeah, any closing statement? Um, yeah, before we shut off.
Yeah, I always want to leave on a positive note. I want humanity to realize that no matter where you at in life, it was always meant for you to be there, learn from it, and evolve. Nothing is coincidence. It's all been written and planned out for you before you even got here. You have a book that is planned out. So be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be, and everything will work out just right.
That's awesome. Yes, everything is, I've been seeing it, yeah, everything else people don't see, everything is going in divine time and at order, you know. And we all came here with a mission, you know, to experience this great change that is happening on Earth. So we live in a very special time. So yeah,
Yes.
no, you're right. No, well, this was awesome, very awesome. Hopefully I'll have you next time. And
Yeah.
yeah, thanks everybody in the chat and the ones who will see it on replay. Hope this gives you enlightenment and positivity. You know, don't give up, don't fall into fear. Stay in the positive vibration because we're now in a big transformation that's going to be happening on Earth, dark to light. So yeah, thank you everybody. Much blessing, and till next time,
All right. Take care, brother.
blessings.